What's going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in to our Thursday night live stream. Bit of a special episode of Niners News here for me and Matt. I'm Zach Hernandez. That's Matt Llewellyn. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We haven't had much of a chance to record this week, so Matt had a good idea. Yeah. Why don't we just go live? So,
yeah. It's just, things get in the way. I know you're super busy at work. I've been busy with some stuff. So why not do it for the people? Let's go live and make it happen.
Yep. So we're going to handle Niners news like usual, but we'll take some questions from the viewers, whatever questions you guys have. So make sure you send them in. Our first topic of the day, we're going to get right into it, is Jerick McKinnon's interesting comments when asked by Deebo if he's coming back next season. Matt, he basically said, literally said F no, on to the next city. What do you think about that? I know you're going to have something special for cargo plane.
Golly, just when you think cargo plane couldn't drag his backside on the tarmac any worse. Listen, I don't have a problem if he wants to leave, but the way that he said it, and I know that people just talk or whatever, but he's acting like the 49ers didn't do him any favors, and that's just simply not true. He collected millions upon millions of dollars from this team and didn't do anything. So for him to just be like, oh, F no, I'm not coming back, whatever, it's so unappreciative. It smacks of just disrespect and of a player who doesn't realize that he didn't live up to expectations. He probably still thinks that he can go 100%. And the fact of the matter is he can't. And we saw that, this last season. If you look at what he was in Minnesota versus what he was this past season, there's a stark contrast, and just, it's just disrespectful, man. Like, the team did right by you. It's not anybody's fault that he tore his ACL. It's not anybody's fault that he had a setback. But at the same time, for him to come out and say F no, like the 49ers didn't do him any favors and get him medical care and keep him on the team and, do all that stuff. I mean, he was still part of their plans. And it's just super disrespectful. Like that's and you could tell, like, when he said it, the look on Deebo's face said everything. Like, whoa, so I know people get hype and stuff like that, but man, you just can't say stuff like that, like in not that way. You know what I mean?
No, I totally do. And I agree with you. I think Deebo was like a little surprised almost that McKinnon had that answer. I think he was thinking more so like, hey, man, the fans are trying to know, are you coming back? Give them, a nice little cheesy answer, something with a little bow on it. And McKinnon, just went completely 100% the other way. And I don't know, it almost looked like Deebo was like, we're live, right? Like, I could tell that that's the thought process he had. So I don't understand how he feels slighted in this situation. Like you said, the 49ers stood by him as he, tore his ACL twice. Not like it's his fault. But it's a bad place for a team to be in. When they signed him initially hoping to be their featured back, they went 2 seasons back-to-back without him playing a single snap. I mean, I remember reading articles, will Jerick McKinnon ever play a down in red and gold? And they weren't, unfounded at all, because that's kind of the trajectory his career was on with the 49ers. And on top of all of that, this season wasn't anything special from him, with all due respect. I mean, he earned the nickname Cargo Plane McKinnon from you because that's what he looked like. There was no jet anymore. So if he feels like he's able to bring another team a tremendous amount of value, more power to you, and I wish you luck.
He's going to get signed for the vet minimum. Let's be real. I mean, he had 81 carries for 319 yards this year. Like, that's terrible. 3.9 a carry. Like, his high output of the game was against the Jets for 77 yards. Like, And one of those, remember, is why I coined the nickname Cargo Plane. One of those was that big 50-yard run that he had, and he looked slow. Like, Minnesota McKinnon would have taken that to the house, but Cargo Plane McKinnon couldn't get himself, out of the runway. So, yeah, just listen. I'm not going to begrudge players wanting to play, and I'm sure he wanted to play, but we all saw. I mean, we all saw. I mean, I'm looking at some of these games right now, against the New York Giants, 14 carries, 38 yards. I mean, that's pathetic, Yeah. And here's the thing, and Jay Ellie's saying it right there. That's another thing too. Like when you're coming off a season when you're not producing, you need to be humble. Otherwise, like, who's going to take a shot on you? You know, who's going to take a chance to shine? Jerick McKinnon, oft injured, you know, looks slower than he was. I mean, that's the thing. You hear him saying this stuff, and what do we, you know, well, maybe we'll hear it from Coleman, but I mean, if Tevin Coleman's not going to do that, like who is McKinnon? Who is McKinnon to do that? Yeah. You know, he collected so much money from the 49ers to do next to nothing. So I don't know. I mean, like 81 carries for 319 yards in its 49ers career, essentially. That's pathetic. And he made millions of dollars to do that. So don't disrespect the team by just showing this like blatant disregard for a potential return, right? He's just like, oh, no, I'm not going to do that. Like the 49ers did him dirty. It's like ridiculous. Yeah, we're coming Thursday night, hung fat, because we've had a busy week and we haven't had a chance to record. So we wanted to bring you guys something. And I'm pretty sure we're coming back on Sunday night, too, after the football games.
Yep.
So you get 2 live shows this week.
About, you know, the comment here from Aztec Rage. Can't wait for Coleman's comments not coming back. McKinnon, with all, you know, to be fair, he had almost, I mean, going off his stats, exponentially more yards than Tevin Coleman had this year. And I know Tevin Coleman was only healthy for, you know, a portion of the season, but 28 carries for 53 yards. He averaged 1.9 yards per carry. I mean, I don't know. It's like the narratives around their careers are kind of different. Maybe I'm reading this wrong. Maybe I'm too, you know, far into it and I'm not seeing what other people are saying about Coleman. But for the most part, the narrative around Coleman is, well, he might be okay, just not with this team. And I wouldn't be surprised if he signed someone else. Where it's McKinnon, it's like, oh, he's done. He might go somewhere else, but as like a 5th string back. What do you think? Is there a difference in Coleman and McKinnon, like in terms of value?
I mean, so far Coleman's been a professional. We haven't heard him complain. We haven't heard him, you know, whatever. And yeah, like Coleman was Shanahan's guy from Atlanta. They brought him in and he didn't perform up to expectations. Yep. But I've never once heard an inkling that Coleman is like mad about anything or that he's going to come out and do this. And it's just a difference in professionalism, I think. And, you know, that's not to say that can't change, because Coleman could come out tomorrow on an Instagram live with Deebo and be like, F no, I'm not coming back either. But I mean, at least in that regard, it's having the self-awareness, right? I don't think Coleman's going to come out and say that because he knows he didn't perform. Yeah. You know, Jerick McKinnon is acting like he performed and he just didn't get touches or whatever. And it's like, dude, you didn't perform. Again, week 3, week 4, 14 carries, 38 against the New York Giants, 14 carries, 54 against the Eagles. Like, it's not like you were lighting the world on fire. November 15th against New Orleans, 18 carries, 33 yards. Yeah. Come on, man.
Yeah.
And yeah, Deebo's face does say it all. Even Deebo was like, whoa, dude, you're kind of out of pocket for that.
He really was. It was like, I don't know. I'm obviously not going to speculate about anything. Maybe he had a couple too many Coca-Colas for the night. I don't know. But it was a bit strange. And I remember I even saw it and I'm like, you know, we had players crying at the podium after week 17 just of the thought of not coming back and playing for Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers. And that's off of one of, you know, the crappiest seasons in recent memory, you know, not just with the record, but COVID, injuries, you know, and here on the flip side, contrasted by Jerick McKinnon, you know, laughing and cracking up and, you know, F no, I'm not coming back. You know, it's like, please, Mr. McKinnon, explain to me how the 49ers wronged you in any way.
Yeah. And listen, this goes back to, you know, talking about another team going into week 17. That passionate, I mean, for lack of a better word, that passionate promo that J.J. Watt cut on his teammates. And I mean, he's shooting on his teammates. Like, if you can't get up as a professional athlete and put in your all, then you don't belong here, you know? And you see the difference in professionalism between a J.J. Watt and a Jerick McKinnon, who, like, when you say F no, the way you said it, and I'm gonna wait until we get further into this to use the words, that way YouTube doesn't demonetize us. But if you say it the way that he said it, you're not taking into account. I mean, listen, cargo plane been out of hung fat, been out of fuel. I've been saying that all year. But if you're gonna say it like that, you're showing a stark lack of awareness about your lackluster performance and your lackluster production. It's almost like he doesn't understand that a lot of this is on him. You know, like plain and simple. A lot of that is on you, man. Like again, you can blame offensive line, you can do that, but the best players and the best leaders will take that upon themselves going forward and say, you know what, that's on me. You know what, that's on me.
Yep.
Hey, I know that we weren't playing our best ball as a team, but I got to be better. And for him to come out and say this the way that he did, it tells me that that's not how he feels. He feels like, oh, well, I was good, but everybody else let me down. And it's like, if you're going to be like that, get out of here. We don't need you.
Yeah. No, that's a really good point because,
by the way, JLE, that's what they are. That's what they are. They're old wrestling terms. I'm a big wrestling fan, so
yeah.
I just watched on Rogan. It was fantastic. I recommend you all go listen to that.
Send McKinnon to Darfur? I don't know.
Do it.
Even Michael Hasty performed better. He was looking good before he got injured. I was excited by him.
I think Hasty's going to be coming back next year with a vengeance.
I don't think I've ever heard an NFL player deliberately say words like Jet.
Yeah.
It's a bit cringy. XFL 2023. Going back to your point though, Matt, about accountability, it just, I get flashbacks of listening to, Jocko and, preaching extreme ownership. Jet needs to listen to a Jocko podcast and get extreme ownership in his life, because is he blaming the offensive line? Is he blaming Shannon? How many people fall before Jet on the personal accountability or just, whose fault it is list, because he didn't look great out there. He wasn't quick. He wasn't fast. I think maybe week 1 or week 2 in the Jet, maybe week 2, I thought, okay, maybe he's just starting to warm up. He had that one run. I think that's when you called him cargo, like you said, then he just ran out of gas and the defense caught up to him. It should have easily have been a long touchdown run. Instead, it wasn't. He was tackled from behind. That was the season best. That was the best part of his year. That was it. So
yeah. And like you said, it's a Jocko thing, I tore my ACL. Good. I had a setback. Good. Yeah. Offensive line isn't maybe playing the best. Good. You have to adapt and overcome those circumstances. So Aztec, he's going to get a vet minimum contract, if anything. I mean, we see a guy who's healthy and was a first-round pick in Leonard Fournette, taking like pretty low money guy of his stature and status. Yeah. What do you think a guy who's had an ACL, had complications from that ACL, and looks slow coming back from that ACL on a year where they didn't produce, what do you think that guy's going to get? He's going to be lucky to be invited to a camp, in my opinion. And especially after this, people are going to look twice and be like, hey, you know what? I don't know if I like that attitude for somebody that didn't produce on the field.
True. And not only that, but on top of all of that, it's like, where have you shown improvement from coming back from your injury? It's like, yeah, you got back, but then you need to build on top of that. We haven't seen that from him. And everything I heard from him throughout the year, this actually did really catch me by surprise. Not just the fact that it's so kind of unprecedented for a former player to come out, 3 weeks after the season ends and basically bash your former team. But throughout the year, he was very supportive, and it seemed like he was having a good time with the Niners. It seemed like he liked the culture. He liked the team. So I don't know, man. It was just crazy to me. I can't believe it still.
Yeah. And again, we've touched on it before. Deebo's face said it all, and I know KB. And by the way, let's get to something that Kendrick Bourne let out of the bag that Deebo was kind of like hush hush on that. Apparently Deebo's going to have a surgery this offseason.
Oh, I missed that. I didn't see that.
Yeah. It kind of cut off before they could get into it, but Kendrick kind of was off saying some stuff. So I don't know. I can't imagine on what maybe something to do with the hamstring injury, but yeah, not good. That's not nothing. So I know we're kind of focused on what Cargo Plane said and what he's going off of, but Yeah, can't sleep on Deebo apparently having a surgery, and if that's the case, man, he better get really on top of his nutrition going forward. So,
yeah, I mean, it could be. Hopefully, I don't know. Surgery. It could be something minor, but I'm sure we'll come out and learn more within the next couple of weeks. But on to our next topic. Last comment here, Jay Elliott. Going from a Super Bowl team to a 6-win team can change things. But they were what did they 2 games? How many games did they win the year before last year?
Well, and the thing is, Cargo Plane didn't even play in the Super Bowl year.
That's true.
He was IR the whole year.
Yep.
Maybe if he would have stepped up, maybe the team would have won more games. I mean, listen, everybody else was hurt.
Yep.
McKinnon was the only guy out there, and he didn't produce. If McKinnon produces, maybe the 49ers win some more games. Yep. So again, another thing that you need to take some accountability, because you can say that the line didn't block for you, but when Mostert was in there, Mostert seemed to get free on a few big runs. So that's not an excuse. Maybe, maybe Cargo Plane McKinnon. Maybe you just suck. See ya.
Yep. Maybe Bye. It's not your turn. Maybe it's not your time anymore. But yeah, let's move on to our next topic, which is Fred Warner recently coming out and publicly supporting his quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo. Matt on NFL Network, believe this morning he said, quote, "The guy's a winner, natural born leader. He's continuing to get better each and every year. He has so much respect from all the players in the locker room. I think he'll be back and better than ever." My question for you is, does he have to say this? Or do you think he would say it if he didn't mean it? Because that's his teammate, that's the guy that's under center, and he feels almost obligated to? Or do you think that's not the type of guy Fred Warner?
Yeah, he kind of has to say it. And, I haven't seen the context of, what's asked about Jimmy Garoppolo, or did he just offer it up? Because if he was asked about it by a reporter, he definitely needs to go there. I mean, we saw, late in the season, I think it was, after the regular season, we saw Everson Griffin come out and just eviscerate Kirk Cousins and say Kirk Cousins sucks, blah, blah, blah. But a couple hours later, and they weren't even teammates at the time. Everson Griffin's gone. He's not in Minnesota anymore. He comes out, a couple hours later and was like, you know what? I shouldn't be saying that about people, especially Kirk. Like, I shouldn't, throw people under the bus, this and this and that. And that's from somebody that's not even a teammate. So you damn well better believe that a teammate is definitely going to prop up their guy. Everybody is going to talk, glowing reviews about their guy until they're gone. And then that's when stuff, years down the line will kind of come out. But this is a business. And Fred Warner especially is a professional, 2, going into a contract year where he's going to try to make as much money as he can. And unlike Jerick McKinnon, seems to have some self-awareness about what he can say and what he shouldn't say. So this to me is that, that classic pandering type of, oh, the media's asking me about this, I'm going to go to bat for my guy because it's the right thing to do. It's being a good teammate. But I don't think that it has any effect on what the 49ers are going to do. And I know that Albert Breer came out in a mailbag and was like, hey, look, the 49ers are going to do it like they always do. If they can improve, they'll improve. But if not, they're fine letting it rock with Jimmy Garoppolo. And, there's so much turmoil. It's going to be very interesting to see. But I would just caution everybody, as much as we want like a Deshaun Watson or a Zach Wilson, we may see the team run it back with Jimmy Garoppolo. And if that's the case, is that ideal? I don't think so. But you just kind of have to respect it. Yeah, it is what it is. We got to hope that he does as well as he can, that he stays healthy, first of all, and that they can play and maybe get back to the playoff and make some noise. So as far as what Fred said, it's, it is what it's that coach speak. It's that cookie cutter canned answer that you expect out of it. Like he's improving year over year is such a cliched type of, but again, that's what those learned professionals do. And that's what Fred's going to do. That's what he's going to say. It's the same thing when Lynch is like, oh yeah, we really like Jimmy. Or when Kyle comes out and is like, I expect Jimmy to be our starter next year. He expects him to be the starter until he's not, again. And that's where we're at with that. So for me, it's not surprising. And it's exactly what you would expect out of a professional like Fred Warner.
Yeah, when I heard this, a lot of people were like, "Look, see, even Fred thinks." It's like, okay, take it with a grain of salt, consider the source. It almost read to me like the whole classic basketball players getting interviewed after a basketball game. We got to give 110%, and we want it harder than the other team. It's like there are these cliches that these sports players and coaches have to say. Not saying this exactly that, but it just kind of read similar to that. And I feel like, just like, Hung Fat said, Fred's a man's man. He's going to rock with whoever is there. If they cut Jimmy today and it's CJ under center, I guarantee you he's going to be talking about CJ tomorrow and talking up CJ.
Yeah. It would be something like, oh, CJ's got such heart. He's such a competitor. Yep. He goes out there and he plays to win every single. It's those non-answers that everybody who is a professional is very practiced in kind of saying. Yep. And in healthcare, we have it too. Like I'll deal with patients in a certain way and give them these very canned responses just because, you don't want to really say like, hey, man, you got type 2 diabetes because you eat too much pizza. Like you can't really say that to people. You're just like, man, you can get this. Listen, we can get this diabetes under control. Not a big deal. We're here for you. It's kind of the similar situation, right? You really want people to do the right thing, and behind closed doors, maybe you tell them things that maybe you say things behind closed doors that you can't say in front of other people. But you really practice this art of saying words without really saying anything. So I think that's what this is. And it's pretty clear that Jimmy's on the hot seat in terms of being the quarterback. Again, where there's smoke, there's fire, and there's too many reports of the 49ers looking at things, from scouts going out and looking at Zach Wilson to, all the rumors about Deshaun Watson. I mean, there's too much smoke here, and I think that definitely Jimmy is on the hot seat at this point.
I'd love to see the Venn diagram of phrases that are applicable to people in sports, players, coaches, general managers, and politicians. I guarantee you there's so many phrases that fall in the middle, just that, double speak and, talking a bunch of words, but not really saying anything at all. It's funny, this talent they develop just from being in the industry.
Yeah. Oh, and this goes back to Jay Ellie. We were talking about it earlier. It's not that different from wrestling either. There's politicking everywhere. It's silver tongue devil to your face and then a knife in your back when nobody's watching. And I think that's a lot of what's going on. I can guarantee you there are some players that have been singing Jimmy's praises out in public, but to the coaches, stuff in private, they're probably like, hey, Jimmy's not getting it done, and we need to do something different. You don't think that Richard Sherman watches Jimmy Garoppolo from the opposite side of the ball and goes to the coaches and be like, I don't know if this is it, guys. A guy like Sherman?
That's a good point.
I don't know, man. I feel like that a lot of the leaders and a lot of the best players on the team are probably like, I don't know about this guy.
Yeah,
it kind of reminds me of Philadelphia, where a lot of this stuff is coming out about Carson Wentz with that big old expose on Carson Wentz, and you only hear like very like small hints of it, right? There was some there, but not a lot. Nobody would say anything publicly, and now you're finding out that people just do not like Carson Wentz. Apparently, he's a diva and he's hard to coach. I'm not saying that Jimmy's those things, but a lot of times the public, us, we don't hear things right away. And it takes this big catastrophic like blow up to kind of see what was really going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And I agree with that. It's like everything's peachy, everything's fine, but then it's like the slightest little hint of something not being fine. Maybe a reporter digs into that a little further, asks a question, something slips out from a player, and then suddenly it's this big thing. So
yeah.
I don't know, man.
Here's the thing. They shouldn't be afraid to move off from Jimmy Garoppolo, and I'm looking at Hung Fat's comments in particular. Like, let's just say that the rumors are true, and it's going to take at least 3-1. So let's say you give 3 first-round picks in Jimmy Garoppolo. After that, this team has like a second, a third, like 2 fifths and a seventh or something like that. There's draft capital outside of the first round that you can use to supplement your roster. But if you can go get like a Deshaun Watson at 25, 3 first-round picks and Jimmy Garoppolo, who you can cut anyway, I would do it. Why not? It's a crapshoot. Listen, we're looking at Solomon Thomas. We're looking at Reuben Foster, right? We're looking at guys in the first round that haven't panned out for the 49ers already. So it's not like those picks are guaranteed. but we know what Deshaun Watson is. So, and if they feel strongly about a quarterback in the draft, go get your guy. I just don't think that you can hold on to, draft picks like they're gold that you hoard. It's like one of those things where it's like, if you're an uber rich person and, when you die, you don't take your with you, like spend your capital. That's what it's there for. If you can improve your team, go improve your team. That's the bottom line.
Yeah. And what cracks me up too is we constantly hear from coaches, the general manager, even the fans. Fans will say, yeah, you want to improve at every position, but who's out there that's going to be better? It's like, okay, a guy like Deshaun Watson comes along and he's actually a lot better, but they're like, oh, that's too expensive. That's unrealistic. Or even, speaking of Deshaun Watson, we can get into this a little bit. When fans say, that's a premier player, blue chip, one of the best in the NFL. But then on the flip side, they're appalled at even the thought of having to give up a blue chip player on the other side on our end. It's like you got to give up gold to get.
Are you talking about the Nick Bosa thing?
Nick Bosa, yes, but even the George Kittle or Fred Warner, people have come out and saying these players are untouchable. Everybody else, you got to realize the 49ers roster currently it's a little top heavy. So after these 3 to 4 premier players, nobody else is worth sending to Houston. As far as getting Deshaun Watson back, in my opinion. Yeah.
I would say out of those 3, if we're talking about Bosa, Warner, and Kittle, Kittle's going to be the first one on the plane. Unfortunate as that is, tight end to me is not that premium position that, like, you know what I mean? Like,
yep.
As much as it would hurt because George Kittle is, heart and soul and all this stuff, man, if it came to Deshaun Watson, like, I'm sure George would pack his own bags. I feel like he's so good, And here's the thing, and we're talking, Jay Ellie talking about Jimmy's contract. $2.8 million is pre-June 1st. After June 1st, I believe it's 1.4. So they can get out of it for 1.4 in dead money against the cap. It's an infinitely movable contract this year. And I feel like that the Fighters are going to be working all the way until, draft day and beyond to try to see what's going on.
This is a good question. Was Jimmy's extension a mistake a few years back? Was the franchise tag a better option?
I've seen this bandied about, and I tend to agree with the people that say if you franchise him and he has a phenomenal year, you risk alienating him because of the franchise tag. I believe that what they did, I feel like, was as good as you possibly could do under the circumstances. Oh, Hung Fat, my man.
Thank you so much.
My man or my woman. We still don't know. We still don't know.
1,200 subscribers. Thanks to everybody who subscribed. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. Giveaway at 2,000. Sorry, Matt, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. No. Hey, get us to 2,000. Like, we love it. We love having you here. So thank you again, Hung Fat. Back to what I was saying, though. But I agree that, if you franchise him and he does particularly well, you risk doing what happens with, like, it would have been similar if, like, Dak Prescott didn't break his ankle this year, right? Mm-hmm. And then he kind of, balls out or whatever. And then you don't want to run the risk of franchising him again because now you're running into some ridiculous money because Patrick Mahomes signed his $400 million deal. You had Aaron Rodgers re-up for, I believe, $35 or $36 million a year. You're having a lot of these expensive quarterback deals, and that franchise tag jumps up. Plus, when you franchise them 2 years in a row, you get a certain percent bump. They couldn't risk doing that, and I think after 5 games, and this is why I think they're willing to move on. I think after 5 games, Kyle was like, "Well, all right, fine. If you want to sign him, sign him. Let's see what he's got long term. He's shown enough that if you want to sign him, I'm not going to be too mad about passing on Kirk Cousins." But now it's to the point where Kyle's probably like, well, that didn't work out. Now I want my guy. So, going forward, they could very well move off of him. And then that goes to Ace Daddy's comment. Would I trade for Derek Carr? Derek Carr is better than Jimmy Garoppolo. Sorry, people. I know some of you might disagree with that, but there's not a lot to disagree with. Derek Carr is better than Jimmy Garoppolo. It would depend on the price. I'm not going to spend a ton of money to get Derek Carr, but, if it was like Jimmy Garoppolo in a 4th, yeah, I'd do that.
I don't get Okay, I do get some of the Derek Carr hate, but for the most part, I think he's a solid quarterback. I think the right team around him and coaching staff could win with him. He's got a good deep ball. That's a lot more than you can say about Jimmy.
There you go. So they're the same quarterback, except that Derek Carr is a little more mobile and he has a deep ball.
Yep, and not as maybe iffy. He doesn't second.
Oh, did we lose Zach? Did we lose him? Dip out and dip back in. I think what Zach's saying is that Derek Carr is better than Jimmy Garoppolo. We'll just leave it at that. Uh-oh. He might have gone to bed. Oh, shit. Okay, it's just me. There's our demonetization. I said a bad word. No, but I definitely think that Derek Carr is better than Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't think it's much of a case to say otherwise. They both had some injury histories. I know Derek Carr had the broken leg, and then he had the fractured transverse process the next year, and he got a little gun shy there for a minute, but I think he's been a lot better, recently. So again, anything that the 49ers can do to improve, they should probably do. It's not that hard to really figure out, but sorry Raiders, that's for sure. That is for sure. I don't know what happened to Zach. Oh, his modem went out, people. He'll be back in a minute. That's the price of going live. Sometimes stuff happens. Throw out some questions in the chat. I'll read them, and then we'll figure out, what the answers are to that. Would cornerback Jackson from the Bengals be a better pickup over Verrett in free agency? I don't know who exactly you're referring to. Let me check real quick. Jackson. I have a mechanical keyboard, so it's going to make some noise. Yeah. William Jackson III. I'm looking. You know what? I think he would, just from a health perspective. You're looking at a guy that in Verrett that has all-world talent, but a lot of times is just too oft injured. And I really worry that he's going to price himself out of San Francisco just because, he played so well. But I would be nervous giving him that money just because, he's had so many lower body injuries. And from a biomechanical perspective, as you get older, I believe Verrett's 28 or 29. You don't get more healthy as you go along, especially with those lower body injuries. You start hitting that, 30-year-old to 31, 32. We see it with Sherman. You start to lose some athleticism. So he's a risk long term. Health to me is, kind of trumps everything else. So I think depending on the price, I would take a shot at Jackson. They're definitely going to have to take some shots in the dark at people. So Jay Ellie's asking options for a mid-round quarterback. God, I hope they don't take one. Honestly, but then you're leaning on guys like, to me, he's going to be overdrafted, but I think Kyle Trask is a third-round guy. He's not very mobile. He showed in a big game that he's like, not great against the best of the best. But you're getting into guys like Kellen Mond and things like that. And at that point, you're just asking for another CJ Beathard, Again, we see Wilson in the third round. We see Dak Prescott in the fourth round, Tom Brady in the sixth round. But those are outliers. And there's a reason why a lot of the quarterbacks in the NFL are first-round guys. You got to go. If you want a premium player, you got to risk that premium capital for them. So Aztec Rage, what has been Kyle's biggest mistake? I kept reading threads about this topic these last few days. I think that Kyle outcoaches himself in situations, especially late game situations. We saw it in the Super Bowl. So the first half in the Super Bowl, Deebo Samuel was getting end arounds. He was getting, quick hitters, and he was really gashing the Kansas City Chiefs defense. And then the second half, inexplicably, he just went away from it. It's not like they were running the same plays and it didn't work. He just for whatever reason, stopped running those plays. And Deebo Samuel, really didn't get going for the rest of the game. And I think it really stalled the offense. We saw the same thing in the Super Bowl against New England when the Falcons were up 28-3. He's like, well, they've seen this, so I got to do something else. Rather than most coaches who are like, you know what, I'm going to keep doing the same thing until they stop it. And I think that Kyle believes that I'm going to show them all these looks that they don't know, so they'll never catch up to me, rather than being like, well, I'm going to wait until they do that. Hey, Zach's back.
Damn, internet went out.
Rather than Kyle say, we're talking about what's Kyle's biggest mistakes, and I'm saying he overthinks himself in big game situations sometimes. But yeah, with the Falcons, it's just like, he's running that play, that sack that Matt Ryan took that took him out of field goal range. Like, why aren't you running the ball? Like, you have an opportunity to take the lead late in the game. You get the holding penalty, which was bad enough. Then Ryan takes a sack, and it's just like, you didn't need to do that. Make them do something to stop you before you decide to just throw out what you were doing that was effective, And again, with the Deebo Samuel thing, keep running end arounds until they figure it out, or fake an end around and run something else. There are things that you can do off similar concepts that will work. And I just think that he gets too cute. That's really for me.
Yeah. And, we've talked about this a bunch, but I feel like he gets in his own head, so to speak. And he just he tries to be, way too ahead of himself, where it's just like, whoa, just focus on what's working, focus on right now. He's thinking outside of a box and he's thinking outside of that box. And it's just like, it complicates things. You're extremely intelligent. You know what the hell you're doing. Just stick with what works, man. I mean, the championship game, for example, he didn't go away from running the ball because it wasn't cute or it wasn't pretty. It worked. You stuck with it and you won the game. I don't know why.
Right.
That mentality doesn't stay.
Yeah, and that always confused me too, because I feel like in the Super Bowl, the 49ers got out to the lead and they just weren't running the ball. Second half they weren't running the ball, and it's just like, well, why are you going away from what we've done all year?
Yep. And not only that, but you'd think you'd want to, I don't know, run some of the clock out. You got the lead.
Right. Yeah, you don't want to leave Mahomes with too many opportunities, and that came back to bite him. I still maintain that Jimmy Garoppolo got concussed on a helmet-to-helmet they didn't call, which was BS, but, we're going to let that lie. But yeah, by the way, go Bills this week because Patrick Mahomes can suck it. No, it's just he gets too cute, and the other thing is he seems to be really stubborn. So he's that guy. I'm the smartest person in the room. I don't know, and this is not to get into spoilers, but any of you out there, if you've seen the Netflix show Queen's Gambit, the main character of that show is kind of similar in that regard, where she's a genius at what she's doing. She's a prodigy. She's this and this and that. But where she gets into trouble is being stubborn and thinking that she's always the smartest person in the room. And when you do that, you can get set up by people who know how to take advantage of that hubris. So I think that Kyle is starting to, soften on that. We've heard that with, the quarterback thing. And I think that, when you get into, okay, we had a, what was it? A 2-14 season or whatever they were, the first 3-13 or whatever they were the first year, 6-10, then 13-3, then 6-10 again. You get humbled real quick when you're like, oh, well, I know what I'm doing, and injuries come and ravage you. You need to figure out a way that you can keep your players performing. So going forward, I hopefully he changes. Hopefully he figures some stuff out. Maybe this rotation of coaching staff will actually help him. And we should touch on that too, the changes in the coaching staff. Fix your lighting, Zach.
It died on me.
But yeah, like there are things that you can do. I think Bills versus Pack is a good bet.
That's fair.
However, a wise man once said, never bet against Tom Brady. So I'm not going to do that. The NFC, I don't know. It's a toss up to me. I could see that going either way. I can see the AFC going either way, depending on what happens with Patrick Mahomes. Although I think he's going to clear concussion protocol. From everything that people were saying, it seems like he had just some brief trauma to the carotid artery, which like put him out. It's essentially like, a chokehold. He went to sleep. That happens sometimes. It can go really fast. I know Jake Laser was all over Colin Cowherd's show, like flexing his biceps like he likes to do. But if everything for me was going right, yeah, it would be Bills versus Packers. That seems to be the most interesting to me.
I agree with that. And I've seen a lot of people come out and say, I don't care if the Chiefs win. It's like, I do not want to see the Chiefs win 2 in a row. I just don't. Call me salty, call me, whatever it is. I don't want to see them win twice. They, got the better for the 49ers once, but I don't care. I wouldn't mind seeing Aaron Rodgers come away with another ring just to kind of cement his legacy a little more. Yeah. Local kid. I really like Aaron Rodgers.
Well, and that's the thing too. Josh Allen is a California kid too.
That's true.
No, but for me, it's just I don't want to see repeats because, I like seeing different things. And just listen. Repeating is very hard. And the Browns almost did it. Even with Mahomes in there, the Browns were doing some stuff. So with a much more dynamic quarterback in Josh Allen, and you got Stephon Diggs. Yeah, the Chiefs will give you your opportunities, and the Chiefs have been playing with fire all season, letting teams in games that they shouldn't let teams in. The Raiders played them particularly tough. I think that there's definitely the possibility that Buffalo just gets out to a lead and Kansas City can't catch up because, Josh Allen is so dynamic and Stephon Diggs and, unlike the Browns who all season have given up a lot of points, the Bills defense is for real. They're going to come at you. So if there was any concern about Mahomes with a concussion, he better be very careful. And in that regard, that's another thing that nobody's talking about. Once Mahomes does clear concussion protocol, if it was indeed a concussion, you're not going to see those RPOs that you saw against the Browns. You're not going to see him on those design runs. They're going to keep him in the pocket as much as possible because they cannot risk another concussion for him. And it's very apparent in the medical field that once you've had a concussion, you're more susceptible to them going forward, especially, when you shorten the timetable to a week, which is what we're talking about for these players. He's at higher risk of another concussion. So they're going to keep him in the pocket. And I feel like that takes away a little bit from what Patrick Mahomes likes to do. So, to me, I agree with Melissa. No Brady, no Chiefs. I'm good with that. Packers, Bills. That's a good day. That's a good day.
We're going to start wrapping things up here in a bit, guys. Send in any final questions you may have. 2 things for you, though, Matt. One, did you see, or real quick, first, before I ask you a question, Hispanic Danger, thanks for tuning in, man. It's been a while since I've seen you in the comments, so appreciate you tuning in. Go Niners. Melissa, but then the Mahomes apologist will come out, not only concussion, but he was also limping as well in the Browns game.
That's also something I haven't seen. He injured his foot before he had the concussion, and we didn't hear about it. And to me, it looked like he might have fractured his sesamoid bone, which is the bone alongside the big toe, the way that he was limping and kind of carrying on with that. I haven't seen a lot on that. I'd have to look at the pregame injury report, but because he had the concussion or, if he was, lost the blood flow real quick, they're not talking about the foot. And that's going to be also something that limits him. So that's a very good point, Melissa. Thank you for bringing that up because I had completely forgotten about it too.
But what I was going to ask you, did you see Colin Cowherd? And I don't know if you talked about this when I was out, saying they should play the game whenever Mahomes can play the game.
Yeah, just Cowherd being Cowherd. That's just him doing what he's doing.
Yeah,
it is. Yes, ideally you want everybody to be healthy and whatever, but they didn't stop the 1990 NFC Championship game when Leonard Marshall wrecked Joe Montana's elbow. Sure. They don't do that. That's just not how it goes. So it's unfortunate to see that happen. And we want both teams at full strength because we want the best games. But, injuries are a part of it. Otherwise, why not hold off the season for the 49ers to get healthy, Cowherd's just, sometimes he likes to rah-rah and say ridiculous stuff for the sake of a conversation, and I think this is a lot of what that is.
Yep. Shout out Mike. What's going on, Mike?
Hey.
It's simple for me. Bills are the most complete team in the AFC. Packers are the most complete in the NFC. That's a pretty simplistic way to look at it, but I don't know. Do you think the Bills are more complete than the Chiefs?
Yes, I do.
Really? Okay.
Yes, I do.
Defense.
The Chiefs have like, and I'm surprised that the Bills didn't take, or I mean, the Browns didn't take more advantage of it. But the Chiefs don't have the greatest run defense in the league, and the Chiefs also don't have the greatest running game in the league. So I don't know. To me, the Chiefs. We talked about it with the 49ers. The Chiefs are a little top heavy. Yeah. You know, of course, you got Tyreek Hill and you got Travis Kelce and you got Patrick Mahomes and Frank Clark on the defensive end and Honey Badger. But outside of those guys, how many other Chiefs can you name?
Fair.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not like, again, and like I said, they were playing a dangerous game where they were letting the Raiders beat them, played them tough twice, beat them once. You're talking about teams that, you know, that they were favored to beat by 12 points and they win by 2. You know, they're playing with their food a little bit. And again, if Josh Allen comes out hot, you know, this isn't a warm weather. It's not like, you know, Green Bay, Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is a warm weather team. You know, Tom Brady got his suntan on. He doesn't want to go up to Green Bay and play in the snow. I mean, Buffalo is colder than Kansas City. Let's be real.
Yep.
You know, the Bills are going on spring vacation right now. And it's not like Arrowhead is packed full of fans either. So, you know, all things being equal, the Bills defense is better than the Chiefs. The Chiefs offense might be slightly better than the Bills, but, you know, when push comes to shove, I think the Bills are a more complete team. Absolutely. I agree with that than Kansas City.
That's fair. I saw a couple comments in here. We take a couple questions and then wrap things up here. Ace Daddy been asking about defensive end Barrett from Tampa Bay would be good to pair with Bosa, make whatever cornerbacks look good. He's kind of saying if they don't bring back Trent Williams.
I mean, I think Trent Williams is going to be priced out. I honestly think he's going to Indianapolis. They're going to sign him for a ton of money.
Wow. I mean, it's with Costanzo retiring, right? Is that who it was?
Yeah.
Costanzo?
Costanzo retired. And it was an early retirement too, because Costanzo's 32. So it's not like he was old. But yeah. I assume you're talking about Shaq Barrett. He might be too expensive. I would take a mid-round flyer on somebody like JJ Watt.
That'd be nice to see. Jay Ellie, the rest of the position coaches staying as is, defensive line and DB coach. As far as I heard, I haven't heard any other movement, but
I think that Saleh is done taking who he was going to take. Mm-hmm. By the way, congratulations to Robert Saleh for getting that head coaching position. Well deserved, and I hope he does good things in New York.
It's going to be hard, man. It's a tough venue, but I think he can do it. I think if anybody can do it, he can. It's all about culture. It's about establishing who you are as, you know, men, and then going in there as a football team. I think that he's got a good shot of turning that program around. Yep. He brought, Mike LaFleur to work with Sam Darnold. It's going to be.
Yeah. Do you think they're keeping Darnold?
I think they will. I think ultimately
I think so too. I think that Shanahan gassed them up on Darnold while they were here, and they feel like they could do some stuff with him. So I think Darnold's staying.
Shanahan playing some 3D chess, knowing. That's funny.
The newly acquired picks, I definitely think that they can make. They're definitely going to do some trades in the draft.
Yep.
Whether or not they do that in the first round remains to be seen. But yeah, they're definitely going to use those third round picks to move.
So let's talk about this real quick, too. If you guys weren't aware, obviously Robert Saleh became the Jets head coach. And then today it was announced that Martin Mayhew is becoming the general manager for Washington football team. So under the new, what's up?
Yeah, which is weird because the guy, I thought they hired that Huffney guy or whatever to be the general manager.
Yeah,
but maybe like VP of player personnel or something.
Yeah, I guess they that's what it was believed when they were first requesting to interview him, but I guess it got switched around. So under the NFL's new minority, promotion rule, if you have a position coach and somebody in your front office both get hired away to become a head coach and a general manager in the same off season or the same time, you will receive third round comp picks for 3 years straight. 3 years in a row. So the 49ers will receive a third round pick this year, next year, and in 2023 because they lost two minority.
We're benefiting from it, but it's still an awful rule.
I agree with that. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But I agree.
Anyway.
I think they should move up. D'Amico Ryans, new DC, good move.
Good move.
Great
Love
move.
internal hires.
Yep. Chiefs OL is patchwork. That's
Agreed.
Broncos play without any quarterbacks. Browns played a playoff game without head coach. Tackle so many because of COVID. Had to play Steelers versus Steelers. How is Chiefs prepared? How is Chiefs people are obnoxious calling it unfair?
Yeah, but I think people are relying on the double standard because how many times did the Ravens Steelers get moved because Lamar Jackson had COVID?
That's true. And I think if you remember, Matt, when this was going on, I texted in the group chat, if somebody were to get COVID like a Mahomes the week of the Super Bowl, do they push that game out?
Oh, absolutely.
And yeah, you were like, of course. They're not going to let that go on like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, I totally
Injury is different, I feel like. Injury is different because injuries happen every year. But
precedents.
Yeah. But so before COVID, right? If say Patrick Mahomes came down with the flu, right?
Mm-hmm. Patrick
Mahomes is going to play in that game. He's not going to miss the game because of the flu. But because of how dangerous and contagious COVID is, if Patrick Mahomes gets COVID, he's not going to be allowed to play. That's how it is. And so it's a little bit different, but the sentiment is the same. Like, you play the games as they're scheduled. I mean, the Super Bowl is the last game of the season, so you can push it if you need to. Especially with no fans. Like, it's not like they're using a facility for anything else. So, Marty Herney, that's what it was.
Marty Herney, yeah. Thanks, Mike. Mike's question here: 100% in a heartbeat. Would you send
Hell yes
for one
first round in Kittle?
Yeah.
Oh my God! I will fly from San Diego to Levi Stadium. I will pick George Kittle up, take his ass to the airport myself, and wish him bon voyage.
Buy him a steak dinner on the way. Yeah. And wait for Watson to land and pick him up. Yes, 100% yes. Kittle, thank you for the great memories. Have fun in Houston. Good luck. 100%. It's just the value of the positions.
Of course.
Quarterback's a lot higher. A lot higher. Ace Daddy agrees.
Yep.
Good luck. Would you guys sign Mac and use money for other free agents or go big on somebody like Lindsley?
I mean, I might go the Mac route just because, I mean, if you think you can make a run, you can make a run. Lindsley is, I don't know. I feel like overpaying for guards. I feel like Lindsley's going to, come huge asking price. And I don't think if they're not willing to do that for Trent Williams, they're not going to be willing to do it for Lindsley either. So,
yeah. That's true.
Mac is an aging free agent, and I know the center position is really important. Maybe they can get him on a very friendly veteran deal. So you might go that route.
Mm-hmm. I admittedly am not too read up on these two guys, so I'm going to go ahead and pass on this question. I'll defer to Matt.
You don't know about Alex Mack?
No, I know about Alex Mack, but I just mean like currently, he's is. Old. Yeah, he's forever.
He's like 35 or 36.
He was old when he got to Atlanta, so it's kind of like it's going to be 49ers East for a few years. Yep.
With the Jets for sure.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to see how many guys follow Robert Saleh over there and LaFleur, It's a similar system. They know the coaches. They have a lot of cap space. The 49ers don't, so it's going to be interesting to see.
Well, and you're gonna see this Shanahan coaching tree kind of proliferate out and see if it does better than the McVay coaching tree did.
Yep, it's true. All right, Melissa, which is why I post on Twitter. If it was Josh Allen, it wouldn't even be considered. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, Josh Allen doesn't quite have the cachet that Patrick Mahomes does right now, so nobody would care.
However, a Super Bowl MVP might help that rise a little bit. So, got to get Allen there first.
Are you foreshadowing your selections?
I've been horribly wrong this season, so I'm going to say no.
Yeah, don't do that. Your predictions are not the best.
I predicted Dante was going to have a breakout year, so we'll just leave it at that.
I mean, he had a breakout year. He broke right out of San Francisco.
That's messed up. COVID due to contact versus actually testing positive are two different things.
That's very true.
Yep. That's true, yeah. True. One's more of a technicality. Other one's actually having it. I'd throw Deebo in there if Watson comes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, same
again,
here.
Like, I mean, truly, the only one we really want to be untouchable, I mean, it's probably going to be Nick Bosa, and then closely behind that is Fred Warner, but everybody else is just like, bye.
Yep. Thanks for the memories. Because, I mean, just look at the weight of the positions, like I said, with the quarterback. Pass rusher, linebacker. These are, extremely important positions only behind quarterback. And if you get your quarterback and you still have the other two behind that, that's fantastic. I mean, I love George Kittle, arguably, one of his biggest fans, but nobody's saying, give me a tight end to build my franchise around. That's just not how it works, especially when the guy on the other hand is a quarterback, a franchise quarterback, just led the league in passing with almost nobody, a bunch of no-name receivers. Yeah, 100%. Throw Deebo in there. You throw 10 McKinnons in there too, for what it's worth. Shit.
100 McKinnons.
100 McKinnons.
Cargo planes come cheap, baby.
Mac at center still has enough juice. Yeah, he might.
Possible.
So yeah, Shaq Lawson, defensive end, would be a good pickup.
It's going to depend on how much they cost. Cost is going to be the huge thing.
Yeah. Not yet for Josh Allen. I mean, look, he's had an MVP type year. A lot of people don't want to admit it. Maybe they don't see it. They don't follow Buffalo as closely. He deserves a couple votes. He deserves his name to at least.
He deserves a couple of votes. I'm pretty sure Aaron Rodgers is going to win the MVP though.
Oh, he'll win it. Yeah, he'll win it. But he deserves to be in the running for it, in my opinion. Yeah. Josh Allen, what he did to the 49ers was one of the best games from a quarterback perspective I've seen in a long time. The throws.
And you know what? I came on this show and I tried to be cool and I was like, maybe the 49ers. I knew Josh Allen was going to light us up. I knew it. And I was just like, I'm not going to say it. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. I'm not going to say it.
Well, to be fair, the 49ers playoff chances were still a little bit alive.
A little bit. But even in the group chat, even before we went on the show, I was like, Josh Allen's going to mess us up. And then I came on the show and I was just like, I don't have the heart to tell the people that. I'm just going to pretend like the 49ers are going to do some stuff. So that's my bad, guys.
You're a phony.
I know. Exposed.
You guys can make those exposed clips on Matt.
Yep.
By the way, we're thinking of – I was floating this idea to Stefan. If you guys are here, you don't know, we have the Red and Gold Standard podcast. We're on a little bit of a break right now, but I was telling Stefan we should go back and get all of the clips from all of our wrong takes, all of the times we were wrong, all of the times we predicted things that turned horribly. I think I predicted the 49ers to go like 14-2 this season. Granted, a lot of people thought they were going to at least have a winning year, so I'm not too far off. But I think it's going to be fun, and I think that's something we'll do within the next week or so. So if you guys haven't subscribed.
Is it just for the podcast or is it for the show?
We can do both. Right now, it's just for the podcast.
You guys should just do the podcast. I don't want nobody burying me.
Hey, it's the Red and Gold Standard. We got to hold ourselves to the highest.
No, you can do the videos. I don't mind. I'm wrong all the time, so it's fine.
That's funny. Melissa, appreciate the support. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Love it.
But I think that's going to do it, guys. It's a weeknight. Unfortunately, I got to get up, crack of dawn, do it all over again tomorrow. So,
yep.
If you guys haven't subscribed already, do us a solid. We're going to give away something special at 2,000 subscribers. We're a little over 1,200 right now, so do us a solid. Also, if you're watching, like this video. It helps more than you think. Drop a comment. It feeds the YouTube algorithm. It helps our channel, so we really do appreciate it. And I hope you guys had a blast. We had a lot of fun. This is kind of our first time doing a live episode of Niners News, so we appreciate everybody tuning in kind of this late on a weeknight.
Yeah, we appreciate it very much. We always love when you guys are here. Last thing, Ace Daddy, Caleb Farley with the first pick. Oh no, buddy. Oh no. I think we're gonna throw you now in the Who Was Wrong show. Thanks for that, though. We need an ammunition. No, we appreciate having you guys here. We love it. We're probably gonna be back Sunday after football, so look forward to that. In the meantime, click the bell for notifications so you never miss a video. We're coming at you all the time with great 49ers content. So until next time, as always, thank you very much and go Niners.